Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the main meeting of the Mountain View Computer Users Group. I'm John Buno, the president, and we've got a really slam bang meeting for you today, or this month. That's me. We do have a sponsorship program, and we're being sponsored this month by the Candle Lady, Carolyn McLean, who's also our treasurer. And if you're ever looking for a really nice gift, or now that bug season is upon us, their Bugs No More is incredible. These are Mia Bella candles. There's a new one here for odors no more, for animal odors. Oh, wow. That's a new one I'm not familiar with. And banana cream pie I'm not familiar with. But these make great gifts. And if you're plagued by mosquitoes, their Bugs No More will greatly reduce them. Now, I won't say they'll eliminate them, but you'll be able to sit outside and actually enjoy the outdoors. And mine is still going from last year. Okay, you can sponsor a meeting for $10 a meeting, $100 per year. You get a slide during the meeting video posted on YouTube channel, mention link in our Facebook page. Now, on today's agenda. We're going to do very short user group business. Then we're going to do a very short timely tech topic because there wasn't that much that happened this last month.
It's all still in flux too.
Yeah. Then we're going to go into some really cool tips of the month and favorites, a Q&A session, and then our major topic for the month is making music, tools for audio creation and editing, which I found fascinating putting together. I enjoyed this one. Please silence your mobile devices. Appreciate that very much. Okay. I'd like to welcome everyone. Here are the officers. I'm the president. We have a vice president, Mike McLean, Barry McGordon, who is our vice president. Mike handles iOS and Windows. Barry handles iOS and Mac OS. Carolyn, our treasurer, handles the money. And our treasury report this month is, yes, we still have money. Dues are $25 a year per family, due in October. If you join after October, it's prorated for that year. Once you join, if you're late in your dues, it's still $25 the entire year, which gives us access to our YouTube videos and a whole bunch of benefits. We also have a webmaster, Jim Emmons. And we also have our website, which is the best place to go, MVCUG.org. It's where we keep all of the information about the user group and the upcoming meeting. But most importantly, the most underused asset in the group, there is a channel off of our page to a YouTube channel called Tips and Favorite Applications. This has got about 70 or 80 videos in it, some from meetings. But when I find something on the net, on YouTube, that I think will be of interest to everybody for iOS, Mac OS, and Windows and Linux, I'll stick it in this channel or playlist. There's stuff in there for seniors, specifically designed for seniors. There's stuff for everybody. Okay, you go, okay, over here where it says useful links, group YouTube channel. That's this, yeah, it's down at the bottom. You see where it says over on the right-hand side, all the way down at the bottom, group YouTube channel. That's where all the videos are, plus this playlist. And this playlist contains, it's at least 70, maybe even more by now, because I add 2 or 3 a week, at least. And there's some really good stuff in there. The newer stuff is all the way at the bottom. The older stuff is at the top. MVCUG.org. We have our Facebook page. It tells you all about the membership benefits, how to become a member, and upcoming topics. Try and visit the page at least weekly and see if there's any updates.
You've got 112 videos in the tips and favorite playlist.
112?
That's what it says, yeah.
Wow, I may have to divide that into 2 playlists. But yeah, I stick stuff in there all the time. And okay, we also have a mail list. Now, this mail list is extremely important. If you run into a problem with an application, with something weird going on your phone or your tablet or your computer, you can drop an email to this list and it immediately goes to everybody who's on the list. The 3 officers generally will respond within minutes, hopefully with the same solution, which so far that's actually happened. Mike, and I don't think you were involved in this one, Barry. I don't think you were in town. But Mike and I responded almost at the same exact time with the same exact solution. So, so if you need, like, sir, what happened to you with that? You could just dropped an email to us and said, hey, what's going on with a screenshot? And we could have solved your problem. I would say give us an hour just in case, like right now, you may catch me when I'm in class. Mike is out of town and Barry's sound asleep on the couch. So I'm retired. Yes. He's so tired he's retired. Okay. Dues paying members get added automatically. So if you're not getting it and you're a dues paying member, please let one of us know. Oh, what? Hang on just a second.
Yeah, I'm just going to point out that that email address is where what you use to send your questions to that.
Okay, come on, guys. Okay.
If you go to YouTube channel, there'll be a playlist for meeting videos. Most recent one. There'll be a button for playlist. Click on that, and then you'll find tips and tricks.
Also, if you click on notifications when you subscribe to the channel, you'll be notified as soon as I post something besides the email you get from me. Also, please like, if you like the video, like it, please, because that takes a YouTube algorithm and posts it to more people. Because we've got somebody who's been watching our YouTube videos that's in Europe and has become a very regular member. Okay. Now, the most important benefit is our professional consultation discounts from Barry and I. If you run into a problem during the month and you don't want to pay $250 an hour for the Geek Squad, you can contact Barry or I. If it's over the phone, it's free. If we have to visit you, it's $35 an hour. We guarantee that if we can't fix it, you don't pay for it. Now, there may be a slightly increased fee if we have to go a great distance, like Bisbee, Palominas, unless Barry lives in Palominas. I think that's where you live, isn't it? So give us a call. Generally speaking, I can fix most things over the phone. And what we do is either get a Zoom session going, or messages, sharing the screen. Yeah. So here are the numbers. Yeah. Okay. Making Music is this month. Next month is the Power of Preview. This is an application on Mac OS and iOS that is amazing. If you use Acrobat Reader, you'll find this one 100 times easier to use. One of the things I love to use it for is you get a form in from somebody. Well, I find it a lot easier to fill out a form on the computer than to print it, fill it out, scan it, put it back in. Preview automatically texts empty fields, sets up a text input, and allows you to finish, including signing it with your own signature. Yes. I've amazed people because most other ones simulate your signature. Preview allows you to use your own signature, but they come back to me and says, "Well, this looks typed, and that's your signature." I said, "Yes." Well, you have a typewriter? I said, "No." Well, did you scan this? Does it look scanned? I said, "No." So, and then I give them the information. So that, in my estimation, Preview is worth buying an iPhone or a Mac all by itself. It's that powerful a program. Oh yeah, a lot more. Yeah, Acrobat Reader came out first, and then Preview was introduced, not to compete with Acrobat, but over the years they've been adding more and more features to where now it is a top competitor, and it's a touch and go. Okay, and then in July is going to be Tip Fest. All three of the officers will get together, and we're going to go through and share with you all the tips that we've come across in the past year that have not been presented in the meeting. And there's like one today that I had totally forgot about. And that's how to move a file in Mac OS. It is not intuitive, but it is there. Moving. Okay. Um, August. Is that what is in August? Oh, that's right. The state of AI. Um, this year is going to be very controversial. I may bring in a guest speaker who made a presentation in her ethics class on the ethics of AI. Um, it was very impressive. I did not agree with her on many aspects. Some of the information that she had gotten from the internet was, in fact, misleading. And they're confusing artificial intelligence with what we're seeing today, which is not intelligence. Um, this is a very heated topic. Okay. So that's going to be a meeting definitely worth coming to. Um, yes. Well, yeah. But one of my issues with it is before you can have artificial intelligence, you must have intelligence. But what is intelligence? And that is a very controversial issue. Yes. Yes. Last time I checked, my computer is not self aware. Now, my wife thinks it is, but it is not. It is a machine, nothing more. Okay. My favorite part of the whole meeting. Okay. Windows 11 recall. No, they did not recall Windows 11. Okay. When I first saw this one come up, I said, they've recalled Windows 11 finally? The plague is over? No. Recall is reintroducing a feature of Windows Unlimited that, okay, Recall builds a database and text and screenshots, recording almost everything done on the PC. Microsoft is doing this to try and fix security leaks, make Windows 11 better. It has brought up some huge user issues. Like who are you to be capturing my information and not telling me about it? But they're going to reintroduce it. This is as much as I know at this point.
I think they did um, change the default so that it's now opt-in, and like it says up there, it only applies to the Copilot Plus PC hardware. So you have to have certain kind of hardware that's advanced enough for it to work.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah, I'm not a Windows guy. Mike
on
can help.
the news groups, the Windows one, when the day after this got announced, normally I get like 2 or 3 messages a week on it. I had 250. People were just screaming about on both sides of the argument.
Yeah, so that's why they withdrew it for a while, and now they're going to reintroduce it,
Okay.
supposedly re-engineered
The
it.
other big news is both Windows and Apple OS have introduced new accessibility tools designed to support users with visual and hearing impairments. Improved voice control, screen reader enhancements, customizable interface options. So more and more we're seeing the ability for people that have issues like my eyesight is going, so the ability to make the text on the screen bigger really helps. The one I showed last year about being able to have when you're inputting text, larger text so you can see what you're actually typing, I found that to be invaluable. I have been trying to use my iPhone as a hearing aid until I get my new hearing aids. But so far, I have not been able to do it because when I go to run the test, I have the correct AirPods. It says they're not fit correctly. So I'm still working on that. I do know people who've used it as a hearing aid, and it's quite effective. So, and the App Store. Barry, this was yours. You want to cover this one?
Yeah, this is a result of a long court battle between Epic Games and Apple. It started in, I think, 2020. And the initial court settlement basically went to Apple. Epic had basically violated the App Store guidelines, and so and they had already, this was, strategic. They had it planned, and they filed a suit almost immediately when they got kicked out of the App Store. So you knew that they had done it to bring this out and to go to court. But basically, Apple won the first decision, of course, except for on one count where the judge told Apple they need to make it easier for app developers to communicate with their users that they can actually purchase things or like subscribe to a service outside of the App Store, so Apple doesn't get that commission that they get on every in-app purchase. For instance, like Kindle books. You can't buy a Kindle book in the Kindle app on iOS. You have to buy it on Amazon and then send it to your device. Then it'll show up in your Kindle app. Well, they were supposed to allow some kind of communication so that the Kindle app could tell a Kindle user, you can buy this book. You can't buy it through the App Store, but you can go outside and to this website. They were supposed to do that anyway. So recently, through the appeal process, the judge really slapped Apple down because they had put these things in place that made it basically so much friction to do that users wouldn't ever do it and developers wouldn't even interact with it because it just wouldn't wouldn't work. So Apple has been ordered by the court to change their App Store policies and allow what it says here. You can have links and buttons and information in your app now that if as a user you can tap on it, it'll take you to the website in the default web browser on your iOS device, where you can make a payment and Apple doesn't get anything out of it. Apple, of course, is appealing that, and actually they've since I gave this story to John as a possibility for today, they have also filed for an injunction against complying until the appeal process is over.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Yeah. So, but right now, Apple is complying, and they had it basically within hours. They had changed the wording on their App Store guidelines, And a number of developers now have changed their apps, Kindle being one of them, Patreon, Netflix, and
Netflix now?
yeah,
I haven't seen
I
that
think
one.
Netflix has a button where you can go, you can start a subscription to Netflix within the app, and it'll take you to their website or whatever, and you can pay for it without having to do it, because they had completely taken out in-app purchase completely, in Netflix had, because
Yeah, I know.
they would lose um, uh, yeah, the 30%. Yeah. So anyway, so it's again, it's still going. It's in the courts. It's been 5 years now, and it's going to be another round of appeals. Um, who knows if it may go back to the Supreme Court. At one point, the initial suit was appealed, and the Supreme Court looked at it and they said, no, we're not going to even hear this. The previous judgment needs to stand. It's not worth our time. But now this new appeal may be on its way back to the Supreme Court. So who knows how long it'll take for this to get.
Which segues into something which I'm going to share with all of you that I found to be fascinating. We all know about pop-up ads. Okay, we're plagued by them. Well, about a week ago, I got curious is how much does the developer get paid for these ads? Because like on games, yeah. Well, are you ready for this? The banner ads, they get between 1 and 15 cents a click. On the full page ads, they get anywhere from $3 to $20 per ad
Just for
that you
showing
see.
it, or for somebody
Showing it.
actually?
No,
Okay. Just
if they actually go in and buy, okay, they can get up to a 15% commission. Okay. So I was sitting there using $3. I was playing solitaire. I said, okay, I'm going to track and see how much an hour they're making off of me at $3 an ad. 270 some odd dollars in an hour. Yeah, at $3 an ad. That was a lot of ads. Yeah, that's why I stopped playing that one. It was getting ridiculous. So that's how a lot of these guys are making their money. If you can come up with something that goes viral, that has ads in it, that's where they're making their money. Also getting you to make in-app purchases, like buy more coins, buy more diamonds, buy this, buy that.
mhm.
Okay, let's move
and those
along.
I think those are other purchases now that fall under that rule, that Apple has to allow those to be made outside of the app as well, if the developer wants to, I
Yeah,
believe.
I'm pretty sure that. Tips of the month. Okay, we've got our first tip is something which I'm sure that many of you have no idea exists, using Apple Cash. If you own an iPhone, iPad, or a Mac, you can send people money or receive money very easily. I'm going to go in. Barry bought a microphone from me. So Barry is going to pay me that right now.
Or pay him. Yeah, so it's done through the Messages app. Okay, so here I am in Messages.
How'd you get to that screen?
Well, I'm trying to get rid of it. Oh, there we go. Okay, so here I am. I'm in a thread with John, and I'm going to send him some money. And so at the bottom left, there's a little plus sign next to where you type. I'll bring it up, and you tap that plus sign for other options. And one is Apple Cash. It just pops up here. I am going to go ahead and type. He wants $15. $15. There's a send button. Notice you can also request from the other end. Hey, send me some money. He could have asked for that if I forgot, but we decided to show it here. Okay, so now it's in my message field, and I can even add text to it. And so and then I'm tapping the send. It comes up with my Apple Pay. I forgot about that. And I've got to authenticate with my Apple Cash card. And then it goes. And he should be getting it.
And there's my $15. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my digital wallet, to my Apple Cash account, and there's the $15 that just came in from Barry. It comes with the iPhone.
Yeah, Apple Cash card comes with the Apple, as long as you have an Apple account and you activate Apple Cash. And so it's in the wallet. You don't have to have the Apple credit card.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
This
So-
is completely separate from the Apple credit card. And what you do is that I can, from here, I can go in and send it to my bank account. And they just added this feature. You can add a credit card number that's tied to your Apple Cash and use that. It's a virtual number. It's only good for 10 minutes.
Well, it's also, it's had a credit card number from the very beginning.
Not for Apple Cash.
Yeah,
Really?
It's like a debit card.
Yeah. I did not know that.
So you can use your Apple Cash card as a tap to pay at any tap to pay terminal.
Yeah.
As long as the balance is enough to cover the transaction.
And so that's how you use Apple Cash. I use it like when I get a haircut. I don't like carrying a wallet with me anymore. This is my wallet. I have most of my major credit cards on here, all that will let me. There are some that won't let me add them. Like for some odd reason, Best Buy's credit card won't go in Apple Cash.
That is bizarre.
Yeah. I can't add Best Buy.
Because they sell a lot of Apple products.
Yeah.
Huh.
Lowe's won't go in. But here's like my driver's license. This is my home, so I can control my home. And here's all my passes and nonsense like that. My Vax card that I did not know existed. Let's say that you have your credit card stolen. You have to get a new credit card with a new number. Well, if you ever had that happen, you know it's going to be 7 to 10 days before you get your new card. If you have that card in your digital wallet, the second the bank issues that new number, it updates your card on the digital wallet immediately, and you can start using it. Also, something else I didn't know, that it also will go out with recurring payments that you make and update their card so you don't miss a payment. Since it uses a virtual number, if it comes in against a bad number, it's automatically declined. Automatically. At some point, somebody got one of my old numbers and they've been using it. And the Goldman Sachs said, don't worry about it. It's not a problem. Our fraud department is working on it. And I think they finally caught the guy because it stopped abruptly. And I was getting like 7 or 8 a day. Anywhere from $1, one was for $1,500. Okay. So let us. Oh, here's a good one. Many of you may run into the problem of trying to add a second icon of an application to screens. Thank you. And at one point, how do you do it? Because you can't duplicate an icon. Well, there's a very easy way of doing it. We're here on my desktop. And okay, let's say that I have a new screen.
So you need to move a current app onto a second page so that you have a second page.
There we go.
There you go.
Okay. Now, I have my second page. That's how it is very easy to do. Okay. I want to put notes on this page. but there's no way to duplicate that icon. So how do you do it? You come over to your library, you tap on the icon, and you move it over. And that way I now have the same icon on 2 different pages. Because I like to organize my pages functionally. So I like to group them together. Because if I try and do this, I don't think this will work. Ooh, that's new.
You can even have it on the same page.
That's the first time I've been able to do that.
One of the things this helps facilitate is if you have custom home screens for specific focus modes.
Yeah.
They're just like extra doors into the same app is basically what it is. It's like an alias.
That's exactly what they are. Because I believe the originals are here. Everything else is an alias on those screens. By the way, if you don't know about this screen right here, this is your library. And they group them by all kinds of great categories. I go in and check this periodically to see what's going on.
Yeah, those categories are App Store categories from
Yes.
Apple. Yeah.
If you click in the app library, you get it alphabetically. And I periodically go through these to find out, to get rid of stuff that I don't use, that I've forgotten I've downloaded. My favorite one is this one of recently added stuff that I forgot that I actually did. Okay. Any questions on adding a second app? Okay. Let's go in. Oh, this is berries.
Yeah, I've got 2 quick tips. These tips will apply to the iPhone as well, in it actually. So the first one is if you happen to have an iPad and it goes to sleep real quickly on you, the default setting, and it's what it, in settings is called auto lock. In other words, it puts the machine to sleep or darkens the screen. It doesn't turn it off. But after a certain period of time of inactivity, it'll do that so that it's, saves battery life, because having the screen lit up, of course, is going to be a drain on your battery. The default on an iPad is 2 minutes. You see how, well, you can't see it. Mine just dimmed already. But if you need to have it stay awake or stay lit up longer for some reason or another, or conversely, if it seems like it's being on too long and your battery's being drained, you can change this. It's in the settings app, and I looked at the sidebar here, and there is in the second section, display and brightness. And if you scroll down in the right hand side, there's an auto lock feature. So it's set for 2 minutes. That's the default. You have 4 other options: 5, 10, 15 minutes, or never, which I will use on occasion, because I like to use my iPad in the kitchen. I have a lot of recipes, and
I do the exact same thing.
So I want the iPad to stay on, so I don't have to be touching it all the time to reawaken it while I got my hands dirty in food or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll change it to never when I'm in the kitchen cooking, if I'm using a recipe. But you can, just select however long you want it to be on before it locks itself up or dims the screen. And, you can play around with whatever might be, appropriate for your use cases. But 2 minutes does seem pretty quick, but out of the box. So that's that quick tip.
Okay.
I'm sorry, say again? No? The dwell time? Oh, okay. On the on an iOS device, that it will dim before it actually completely locks, and there is a little window there. If you see it dim, you can touch it again. You won't have to do the passcode or Touch ID or whatever. But if it completely yeah, you still have another. Yeah. No, I think it. Yeah, I think with the iOS device, once it goes completely dark, you have to. Yeah, it's
It's locked.
locked. Yeah.
Pretty sure that's
Yeah.
the same.
So the dimming of the screen is the dwell time on this. And I learned a new term today. Thank you. Okay. My second quick tip has to do with the size of icons on your home screen. On the iPad, this is the default size you see right there. And it's also the default spacing, and you can't change that. You can move things around in different locations, like in jiggle mode, like John was showing with the iPhone. But the grid is set like this. I find on the iPad they're kind of small and spaced out farther than they really need to be. They could put them closer together and you get more on there, but unfortunately, that's the way they have decided to do it. So once again, back in settings, if you go back one more down to home screen and app library, there's an item at the top that says use large app icons. And if you turn that on, and if I go back to home, they're a little bit bigger than they were. The grid spacing is the same, but they look like they're a little closer together because each one's a little bit bigger. Same settings on the iPhone. However, the one difference on the iPhone is when you start using large icons on the iPhone, it gets rid of the name of the apps underneath the icon.
Ooh.
So if you like to recognize things visually and you want larger icons on the iPhone, it's pretty nice. If you can recognize the app by its icon without the name, it's nice to have them a little bit bigger, especially with older eyes. It doesn't make the text any bigger on the iPad, as you can see. Still same size text, but on the iPhone, because the app grid is actually more compact, they don't put the names. So I like it on the iPhone to have just the icons without the names, but just depends on how visual you are. So
Okay,
there's
great.
also a way of doing that on the home screen. I noticed that if you go to Edit and Customize, you noticed at the bottom you got small and large. You can change it that way. Oh, and you can get rid of the text. Oh, I learned another something new here. So you can get rid of the text on the iPad too. That's interesting. Okay, cool. And that's my iPad tip.
Okay, we got one more tip coming up, and that is how to move files on the Mac. I'm going to show you this, but I want to go through it. You go into the Finder window, you copy the file. You don't click and drag, you copy it. You go to the new location, and Option Command V will move it. And it'll also show up in the menu. Now, yeah. No, if you copy and paste, yes. If you copy the file, let me show you. I'm going to go here up to Edit and Copy. Now, I can go someplace else. I can go here and paste the item, and that'll be a copy. The original's left there. Or if I hold down the Command and Option key, it's Move Item here, which means it will delete the original and put the other one here. Okay, I'm going to show you where I was. So I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to take test PDF. Okay. And I'm going to copy it. I'm going to come over here to my folder personal documents. If I come up here, I'll paste the item and we see it's over here. If I go back to keynotes, I see test is still there. But now I'm going to come over personal documents and hold down the command and option key, move item here. And now if I go back to my original keynote, you notice that test PDF is gone. The one that was there. So that's how you do a move. Because a lot of people have objected to the Mac saying, well, you can't do a move. Yes, you can. Okay, any questions on that?
This is a kind of a public service announcement tip. But I just wanted to point some things out about that. Yeah, it talks about, but it's the text itself doesn't actually identify what jurisdiction it is. There's the one of the first clues. Yeah. The other clue is to look at the number that it's coming from. It's got a country code of 63. How many people are driving in another country on a toll road or whatever, or I don't know. I forgot to look it up. But so if you're getting a text from a number and it's not in your contacts, it's going to show you the number up there. And if it's not the United States, is it Philippines?
41.
So that's a good clue that they're trying to scam you. But I wanted to point out one of the things that Apple does in the Messages app. When you get a text like this that has a URL in it, notice that the URL is just plain text. It's not a link. You can't tap on it here. It's one of Apple's protective features in the Messages app. If you get a text from somebody that's not in your contacts, the software knows that you don't know who this is. It's not somebody that you regularly would communicate with because it's not in your contacts. They disable any links in the text for that on purpose, so that you don't accidentally tap and get taken for it. And that's why now these scammers are putting this little paragraph at the end in parentheses. You have to reply to this text and then close the app and reopen it so that you then the link will be live, because the software thinks, okay, if they're replying to somebody, then they must know who it is. So just click on report junk when you get something like this and you can identify it. Don't tap on any links from any unknown sources, email, text, or whatever. That's just good practice. And you can delete it. I don't know where these reports go, but
Scammer goes out and purchases from the dark web a list of email addresses, generally 10 to 15,000. He sets up a website to spoof something. And then he has the list of people to send to and uses somebody from that same list as who it's from. So the person it's coming from has no idea. Now, how they do that, how they gather the email addresses, when you forward a message to somebody, it normally includes all the email addresses that previous. So at some point, somebody who is without ethics or morality goes in and harvests the email addresses and adds them to their database. So the people sending it don't get it. They don't even, like, I keep getting one from Jim Emmons. Okay. I know Jim very well. And it says, here's some pictures I thought you'd be interested in.
My mom got a scam email from her cell phones.
Oh, I get those all the time. Yes, I send me stuff all the time. I said, geez, I didn't know I wanted to go to that website. And I get them from my daughter, who I know does not send email to me. If she wants something, she's going to pick up the phone and call me. Okay. She doesn't, especially on that email account, because she doesn't use it. My wife, I'll get ones, not very seldom from Jane, but I have gotten them. Oh, she got one the other day. You know, the scam about, I tapped into your camera and I've taken video. Yeah. And watched. And I'm saying, and Jane got this one. I said, oh, yeah. Sure you did. And there ain't no way I'm giving you any Bitcoin. Tracking these people down is extremely difficult.
They're coming from outside our country.
Yeah. And part of the problem is that not all countries have laws like we do. Russia has no anti-scamming laws. None. Nigeria does not. China, interestingly, does. One of the things I like about Apple's mail is it prevents beacons from going back. Yeah. Thunderbird is supposed to have that. I don't know for sure that it works. I do know the one in mail. Generally speaking, if you get an email from a company, don't follow that link. You go up to that company yourself and see if what they said is true. I got one from AAA the other day saying we couldn't renew your membership. I forgot that one of the cards I had that was fraud. I forgot to change it with the AAA. Okay. Well, they had a link in there. The link looked legit. I said, So I went up to AAA and he said, yeah, you need to renew your membership. Okay, let's move along. We don't have a Windows this month, unfortunately. Share a favorite. We've got Barry, who's got a program I don't even know about. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, it's wildfire season.
Yeah, it's wildfire season, and seems to be that wildfire season is getting longer and longer these days. And I heard about this app, I think on a podcast, but it's really pretty nice. It's called Watch Duty. It's available on all the platforms, and it uses your geolocation on your device to know where you are, and it'll alert you to fires close by.
Will it
And you
do
can actually,
different countries?
even look
Like
beyond
show
that.
fires
But
in Mexico?
no, it doesn't do this. This one doesn't. No, there might be. Well, it might have something to do with the tier. Let's see here. I'll just open it up on my watch here, or off my phone. You can see it. It's run by an independent nonprofit. Let's see if it knows where I am. There I am. So it did flag even though the stronghold fire was over another valley, it did flag that when it came up recently. But I'm going to zoom out here, and you can see how Mexico is just all grayed out. This app doesn't show anything except for the United States.
Is the fire up north?
But there's a fire up here on US 70 north of in the next county up. So that is an icon for an active incident, and you can tap on it on the map to bring up information. Shows you the estimated acreage of the burn, how much is contained, whether it's active or stuff, and any evacuation warnings. advisory, ready, set, stuff like that. You can turn on notifications for a specific event if you want. You can share it. Like, I think it goes like you can share social media. If someone's been taking pictures, they'll have them here. You can see this Jamie Whitfield is I think a member reporter of this group, because he was also, I think it's a he, maybe it's a woman, also reported on the Stronghold fire, which was in a different part of Cochise County. Yeah. So, and they'll have some information here, and then they'll have links to the the government agencies that are working on it, social media things. There's one from a plane, and I've just subscribed to the free version. There are memberships. You can pay monthly or no, you can pay annually for $25, or you can pay $100 for more features. I'm not sure what kind of professional it's trying to market to here. You can also make just a one-time donation if you'd like to. So if you have a membership, you can log in and it gives you other features. Like, for instance, I can turn on layers here. Stuff that's free, you can change to a satellite or topographic map. You can see fire perimeters, and it says 1 of 2. You can show different ways of showing the fire. I like the red one, so that's what's turned on. If you want to track the firefighting aircraft, you can, but you have to have a membership to do that. That would be kind of cool. I might do that sometime, just so I can see where their planes are, because if the big fires are going to have aircraft fighting it. Yeah, and power outages, which right now it only applies to California for some reason. I have it on, but because I'm going to be driving through California next month, so I want to see if I'm going to run into any problems. And live wildfire cameras, but it also weather. You can turn on the red flag warnings if you want, and the wind direction, and it gives an animation for the wind. Turn it on, you can see it. Air quality I can get from my regular weather app, so I don't usually have that on. And then there's some professional features. If you're paying for the professional level, you can get information about who owns the land and electric retail service territories, stuff. I don't know.
Whoa.
So those are probably helpful for those kinds of agencies. Critical infrastructure.
Yeah, if you're a volunteer
you can
fire,
see what's
that would be invaluable.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And then the pre-planned evacuation zones you can turn on if you have a pro account. But so here it is with the wind direction. And I was fascinated this early. We've got wind coming from the east and the southeast already. But you mean how the direction in degrees? No, it's just giving you an animation, because you may change over the topography depending on where you are. So, but yeah, so since I'm going to be going through California, I can go over here and say, oh, where am I traveling? It'll show you where there's prescribed burns. It's got an RX on it.
Oh, that's worth getting that app for just that.
Yeah. So if you see smoke and you say, oh. Yeah. So if you see smoke and you say, oh, you can look it up and say, oh, that's a prescribed burn. Okay. And then an incident that's been taken care of is just a gray icon. You can still get information about it. So I think it's a nice piece of software. I may upgrade. See, there's another. Oh, this is an icon for one that's not tracking yet. Somebody has reported it, but there's it's not no notifications for that one yet. So you couldn't subscribe to notifications on that one. Anyway, I thought it was a nice piece of software to have, just to be aware of what's going on around us in this hot time of year. I'm wondering where, yeah, how they get, or if it's just if it's some kind of algorithm that's just, uh, yeah, you can, and the wind, yeah, you can get, and I wonder where they're getting that data. It must be some, it must be. I mean, there are weather stations all over the place.
Okay, we're going to have a short question and answer. Has anybody got any questions or answers? If you come up with an answer, we'll try and figure out a question. You like that one? Okay, if nobody has any questions, it is time for a break. Okay, now that the break is over, we're going to go into the main presentation. Making music, making music and editing, actually sound and music. Now, what are we going to cover? Well, we're going to talk about what is digital audio, why digital audio, why bother with it. Then we're going to talk about making music. And actually, GarageBand is for the Mac and for iOS. There is no equivalent that I know of in Windows or Linux that I'm aware of. I will tell you that I will only be showing about 1% of the capabilities of both of these applications. And then we're going to go into editing music and sound and what you can do. And what you're going to find out, you all remember when CBS News, 60 Minutes, published that interview of Kamala Harris, and they totally, okay, you're going to find out how easy that is to do. Anyone could have done that in a matter of an hour, maybe two. And that's just using a free application, not even a sophisticated one. So let's talk. What is digital audio? It is sound converted into numbers that computers can read and play back. That's what it digitizes sound. It turns it in series of zeros and ones. That's all that it's doing. Now, if you remember, I want all of you to put on your go back hats back to the early days of sound recording when we used to put them on wax. So thank you, cylinders. I was a young adult back then, okay? Um, and maybe some of you remember recording on wire, the wire recording. Uh, do you remember when we brought out magnetic tape? Okay. Now, here's a good trivia question for you. Most of us know the quarter-inch mag tape. When they first introduced sound recording on magnetic tape, how wide was the mag tape? The original one that they used in the talkies in the 1920s. The original sound recording was 3/4 of an inch. 3/4 of an inch. And when they finally came up with a way of putting that on the film itself, that was a huge movement. 3/4 of an inch. The ability, now, what's interesting is that digitizing video is actually simpler than digitizing audio. Much simpler. Audio is very, very complex. And because you have such a wide range of frequencies. So, digital audio you can store on all kinds of devices. You can put it on mag tape, you can put it on wire, you can put it on a CD, you can put it on a DVD, you can put it on thumb drives. Anything you can store computer data on, you can put digitized audio on. Okay. And now the quality of digital audio, this is very controversial here. Originally, everybody thought that digital audio was significantly better than vinyl. When you take a look at 45 RPM records and 78 RPM records, that is a true story. However, when you compare to a 33 and a third, the frequency range of a analog recording at 33 and a third RPM, or you may remember this one, the 16 and 7/8. I think that's what it was. There was one speed lower. It was professional only. And that had a phenomenal response. So digital audio does do clipping. By clipping, the frequencies you have both top and bottom get clipped off. So you don't get the full range of frequencies. That's just the way they do it with ones and zeros. Yeah, Norm? Because with the analog recordings, you could get down and record sounds below the threshold of human hearing and above the threshold of human hearing. They're there, we just can't hear it. With digital, it actually gets clipped so that you don't hear the full lows, you don't hear the full highs. Now, for most of the trash that people listen to these days, it doesn't make any difference. If you're listening to symphonic music, orchestral music, opera, it makes a huge difference. And one of the things that I've just lost the word that digital does not do nearly as well as analog is digital does not create the harmonics the same way analog does. And that affects the quality. Digital audio never wears out. It will be the same the first time you play it as the 100th time you play it. Analog records do wear out. And that is the difference between having a $1,000 turntable and a $20 turntable. A $1,000 turntable, you get almost nowhere. I have a cousin who is a freakish audiophile, and he has a $1,000 turntable. And hearing records on his system is, we were listening to something when I was over there the last time, and it's a piece that I've heard a dozen times, and all of a sudden I was hearing parts of it I'd never heard before. I said, you got to be kidding me. I didn't know there was anything there. So that's what digital audio is. Digital audio is like a modern photo album, allowing you to relive memories through sound. We can easily record these days conversations, animal sounds. We've got a recorder right here that we carry with us. Most people don't realize that it'll do audio recordings very easily. You can also, because of the digital, you can create music, record family stories, enhance old videos by adding sound very easily. Prior to the digital world, not so easy. To try and put sound on a silent movie, not easy to do. Okay. When digital came along, very easy to do. And that's why I went and took all our family videos that were on 8mm and had my parents sit down and narrate them onto digital. So I had them talking about because a lot of the stuff I didn't remember. And a lot of stuff they didn't remember. Okay. A real quick story. Real quick story. This is not going to be in the final video. When I was a captain, lieutenant, I think it was a captain by then, I was working with audiovisual. And we had a presentation on videotape, one of the first portable videotape recorders, half-inch videotape. We were going to be briefing a 4-star general. Very important briefing. He was the head of Readiness Command, and he was going to fund us to do this project. 2 hours before the presentation, the tape broke. Yes. So I stole my boss's, who was a brigadier general. He was going to be, he was Colonel Promotal. He's going to be a brigadier general. I stole his staff car and his driver, and we went to every TV station in Yakima City trying to find somebody who had splicing tape to fix it. The third one we went to, the guy said, "Hey, sure, not a problem at all. In fact, bring it in and I'll do it for you." Seriously? He says, "Yeah." He said, "I was in the Army. I know what you're going through." So he fixed it. We go back, and my boss was livid. Accidentally, I had taken his briefcase, which was in the back seat, and didn't know it, and his reading glasses were in there. He said, "Where have you been?" So I told him what had happened. He says, "Is it fixed?" I said, "Yes, sir." And you can't tell at all. The guy did a beautiful job. He said, "What guy?" And I said, and I told the TV station. He said, "Well, how much is it going to cost?" I said, "He's not charging us a cent." He said, "He's prior military." He says, "He knows what we're going through." And he did it free. Well, the TV station got a plaque from us. But yeah, because we gave the briefing. What we're doing is showing how TVs, these portable players, when I say portable, it's a suitcase and a camera on your shoulder, okay, could be used in training. And we would go through and we showed how he can use this to enhance his training, to show troops what's going on. And he was really impressed. He said, "How many people have you got doing this?" I said, "Well, sir, I've got 6 cameramen and 6 drivers." "That's all?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "You've got lots of footage here." I said, "Yes, sir." He says, "What about night maneuvers?" I turned to the boss and I said, "Can I show him?" He said, "Do you have it?" I said, "Yeah, I can put it on." We had taken a night vision device off of an Iroquois, if I remember correctly, helicopter, and mounted it in a van. So we could sit up on a hilltop at night, total darkness, and could see everything going on in a night attack. And that was an eye opener. We were able to spot one of the guys in a Jeep smoking a cigar easily, saw his face details. We saw guys walking up the hill with their weapons slung over their shoulders. All of it perfectly clear. And we showed it to the general and he said, "Oh my, I bet they weren't too happy when they saw this." And the colonel and I started laughing. He said, "No, they weren't. They were actually quite embarrassed, especially that was the S3, the major back there with a cigar." He says, "Okay, you guys have sold me." He said, "How soon can you have this implemented?" The boss turned to me and I turned to the boss and I said, um, "What all do you need?" And he told us, I said, "Could you give us a month, maybe 2?" And he turned to Wild Bill and he said, "Is this captain okay?" He just said a month or 2. He said, "I was expecting a year or 2." And Bill said, "No, you don't know, John. If he says a month, it'll probably be 2 weeks, but I give him 6 just in case." And I said, "Oh, because I didn't realize that I wasn't supposed to take that short a time." And that included all the training, everything that's necessary. And we had it in 6 weeks, only because of money transfer issues, but that's a different story. It took 2 weeks to get the money so we could do something because I had to go out and buy equipment. I had to get travel, and we were traveling all over the place. Okay, so let's continue. Back onto this presentation. Now, making music, I'm going to be showing GarageBand. What is GarageBand? It's an application that allows you to easily record vocal, instruments, create music from a keyboard, create music from loops, music from MIDI devices, playing, mix music and vocal. It's an amazing application. Now, in the user phase, we're going to be talking about creating new projects, selecting input, creating tracks, selecting voices, and selecting loops. I'll talk about which each of those are in a second. Okay, I am going to show you the application, but I just want you to get familiar. We create a new project window. And you can specify, you can see down here, the tempo, the key. So we can select the key. If you're familiar with music, you know what I'm talking about. A key is a transposition of notes for a range. And vocalists need this, and so do instrumentations. And then we have a time signature. As to what speed it's going to be at. 4/4 is your standard. You have different ones that it can go at, and that's the tempo that it's going to be taking. Now, next, you have to select your input. This is bizarre. You can hook up MIDI devices to your computer and record directly as people are playing that device. This is keyboards, guitars, organs, yeah, piano organs and synthesizers. You could add a drummer and record the drummer, or you can use one of the drummer settings to create your percussion. Now, that's very important because the first thing you do in creating music is you set down a percussion. That sets your rhythm. That's the very first thing you put in. And we'll talk about the steps to doing that. You can go and hook up a microphone, or line input to record audio. And it's a built-in mixer. Or you can set up a guitar or a bass to record that live. So I could record a guitar, play that back while somebody is singing to that music, recording their audio. I can go in and add a drum line, and I can put together a recording studio on my Mac or my tablet.
Overdubbing.
Pardon?
The technique is called overdubbing.
This is not quite overdubbing, okay? It's similar, but not quite the same. I'm trying to remember because I made that same mistake and I got corrected by a GarageBand engineer. Okay, I'll see if I can remember it. Okay. This is what it looks like. When you start dealing with audio, they deal in something called tracks. And a track is a line of sound. You can have multiple tracks. And what we're going to be doing is we are going to create some music on multiple tracks, different instruments, and putting it together. Now, steps to creating music. I don't know if this is a standard. This is how I was taught. This is how Apple presents it in their tutorials. The first thing you do is create a rhythm section, which is your percussion, drums, cymbals, bass, whatever. After you put that down, you lay down a bass line, a bass guitar, bass fiddle, whatever. You can use like a bass saxophone. I've seen that done. Then you add in your background instruments, which can be a piano, a guitar, a trumpet, French horns, violins, violas, cellos, whatever. Then at the very end, you create your melody. And that can be a voice, brass, a violin, a clarinet, whatever it is, it's playing the melody. Because you have your melody, you have your counter melody, you have your backups. Music is complex. If you ever want your mind blown, take a harmony class in music. I made that mistake in high school. Okay. We are going to go into GarageBand and hopefully I'm out of myself doing this. Okay. We have, oh, I want a new project. Okay. You have an empty project. Oh, come on. Okay.
Screen resolution. Can't see the bottom of the window.
Yeah.
You can see it. Just explain it as you go.
Well, I can't get to. There we go. There we go. Okay. I'm going to leave all the defaults. Input is system settings. Output is system settings, which means it should. I'm not going to be doing any recording, but it should come out over that speaker. So I'm going to choose it. And then this gives me the dialog box here. Okay. What I'm going to do, while I can add synthetic drummer lines, I prefer to use these. So I create a track of my drummer, and I have all of these drummers to choose from. Okay. I can do Blue Ridge, Bluebird, Brooklyn, Detroit, East Bay, or 4 on the Floor. And that's pop rock. I can play it. I actually kind of like that one. Okay, we're going to leave that one. It's called 4 on the Floor. I can repeat it, stretch it out for as long as I want to. I'm only going to run about, we'll go to about 12 seconds. So that gives me my bass line. Now I can add different bass lines, and we'll be doing that. But I kind of like this one to begin with. And then I could go in and change. I have a mixer down here. I have an equalizer. This is my track. Now I'm going to go in and add a track. And in adding my track, I'm going to go over here to mic or line, because that allows me to drag in effects. So I'm going to come down here. Okay. It's over here. The loop browser. This is the only way I can get to my loop browser. These are hundreds of instruments. It's a blues bass. Stop. Okay. I'm going to come up here, and I only want, let's see what Take a Day Trip is like. No. I have the, that's hip hop. No, I don't want that. Regression pop? No. Oh, God, no. Okay. But what I want is bass. And I just drag in my bass line, and now I play it. And I'm going to drag this.
You turn off the tooltips. That's going to distract you.
Say what?
Can you turn off those tooltips?
Yeah.
It's distracting.
Yeah, thank you. Where is the tooltips?
Advanced, maybe.
Should be right here.
It might be in a menu.
View.
Go ahead. This interface is similar. I haven't looked at the latest version of that. One thing this may do too, that's nice about that box, you can put in a set of boards and select a genre and playing type, and it will create the whole thing for you.
Mm-hmm. So now what we're going to do is we have our bass. We're going to put in some other instruments. And I want to add, oh, no. And I can put, yes. There it is. Thank goodness. Okay, I can start it. I'm going to start the verse horns right about there. Okay, now that's blast, and I'm going to come over with blast chiller. No. And make a counterpoint. Okay, and now that I've done that, let's see what else we got. Oh, no, I want, no. I can add different percussion.
I hear a very Saxon
Okay. And you can keep doing this. You can keep doing this for hours. The other thing you can do, and let's see if I can show you that. What is a tuner? Oh, okay. That was a new one. Where? There is a track. I think
You have to have a device plugged in for that.
I'm trying to remember it.
Yeah, I'm sure there are loops. Yeah.
There it is.
Oh yeah. You can
I can input music, And I have done this. I've taken music and typed it in by hand. Well, I actually had MIDI keyboard, and it records that. And then I go in and I actually create an orchestral piece. I had the different tracks for the different instruments. And because I can come down here.
Circus. I had a Wurlitzer electric piano in high school. You know, don't close it.
Oh.
There's another little button there.
Where did it say show keyboard?
It was in the. It was up there somewhere. Window. There
Show
it is.
keyboard. There it is.
You can map it to your computer keyboard.
I forgot about that one. Thanks, Barry.
If you want to learn to play the piano on the
Yeah.
QWERTY keyboard, you can.
So you literally have a recording studio, and you can go out and get more loops. I have one of my drives at home. I have over 1,000 loops that I've created. Some of them are really good. A lot of them aren't. I do not like the synthesized instruments.
Yeah.
Like I like one. I do have one that is trumpets, of an actual trumpet playing each note.
Well, if you look at the loop library, it also shows you by the icon which ones are actually instruments and which ones are synthesized. If you see a green icon, I think with the music icon,
Yeah.
it's an actual recording of an instrument.
Oh yeah, here it is.
The MIDI loops. Of course, you have to find a library that has some in it, but I did see some up there earlier when you were scrolling through.
You ever hear a device called the Beat Buddy?
The what?
Beat
No.
Buddy.
It's a pedal. It's a guitar pedal. The Beat track that you could use the pedal in real time rather than just having a regular drum.
Oh.
I bought one of those because I play trombone and I don't have.
Oh, really?
So I gotta do my.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about now.
So how you can double tap, single tap, whatever, and hold it down. You can have to do certain things. You can be playing along and have a different track every single time you play.
Yes, yes.
Neat.
You do it in real time.
Trombone is my instrument too.
It comes with software, so you can keep things together and go off.
Hmm.
And then have it do automatic, or you can do it all real time.
I'm gonna try. Hello, hello. See if I record anything I say.
Oh, hello. Is that the name of the song? Hello, hello?
Yeah.
It is now.
Hello. See if I record anything I say. Son of a gun, it actually did record.
Yep.
I can increase the volume. No, that's the
That's
pan.
pan left to right, yeah.
I can increase the volume, and you can see it changing over here. Hello. See if I record anything I say. Okay, and I have full controls down here. Down here, I have compressor. So, I mean, that's what you can do with GarageBand. And it is, I warn you right now, it gets to be very addictive. Yeah, my wife got really kind of mad at me Thursday night because I was up to about midnight playing with this stupid thing. Would you please turn that thing off? Okay.
Well, back then, remember those policy this, I guess that's the way I had to do it.
Well, no, we're
With
getting,
digital now, you can
yeah.
do it all on the computer.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this over in user group demo.
Yeah, the slides and you had to over the, you had to write that.
Because the next thing we're going to talk about is any questions on GarageBand before we move on? Anybody have any questions? If you do plan,
It's fun. Yeah.
yeah, GarageBand on the iPhone is a little tricky.
Yeah. It's a little different on iOS.
Yeah. On the iPad, it's pretty much like this. If you do plan on playing with GarageBand, I strongly suggest you go up and watch tutorials on YouTube and on the Apple website. And this program has got so much more in it.
And
We could spend an entire meeting on
they,
GarageBand.
You're mentioning Apple. When I first started, or is it just Apple?
It's always,
it's always been
as far
Apple.
as I know.
If there was a GarageBand on Windows, it was somebody named it the same. It wasn't Apple's product. Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
Or did
it
you
could,
buy it?
Apple did buy it, so it could have been before that.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. It could have been
yeah.
before. Yeah. Maybe.
By the way, this picture you have here, that was done with Image Playground. It's part of Mac OS.
This looks like Dr. Seuss instruments in the background, though.
Yeah. Actually, it looks like a really sick trumpet. Okay. So if there's no further questions on GarageBand, now we're going to talk about Audacity. Audacity is a free sound editor. It's on Linux, Windows, Mac OS, iOS.
Ooh,
Everybody's got Audacity. It's open source.
I didn't know it was on iOS.
It is perfect for beginners and also perfect for advanced professionals. I know quite a few that use Audacity. It is very powerful. I am only going to show you some very small things it can do. And Barry, there's one section you need to pay particular attention to.
I actually have two products on iOS. One called Audio Lab, and the other one is Audacity Audio and Recorder.
Yeah.
So they've.
I don't know if this would be covered in your presentation. Have you ever up the video Audacity? And
Oh yeah.
you can actually pull the audio from
Oh yeah. I do that.
And you
quite
can do it in
often.
GarageBand too. Like you can create a soundtrack for a movie.
You can suck in video into
Yeah, and it has
GarageBand.
a video. It'll be a video, preview of the actual movie, and then you can create the audio soundtrack while the movie's playing. Yeah.
You're kidding
I've
me.
been doing that for years. They've
Oh.
had that for years.
I use it. I'll download YouTube, and all I want is the audio. I don't care about the video.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can separate it out.
Oh, yeah, I do. I use it to edit the audio for the user group meetings. Okay, this is what the Audacity desktop looks like. Notice it uses tracks also. Anytime you deal with audio, you're going to see tracks. Apple's got a equivalent to this called Logic Pro. It's kind of like GarageBand on steroids. Adobe has got
Audition is what it's.
Audition, which is a phenomenal application
Just
if you're a sound
just a
engineer.
big learning curve.
Oh yeah, I spent 2 years trying to learn that one, and I only think I learned about 10% of it because I went to one of the Mac Worlds and they were giving demonstrations on it, and I sat down and the guy started talking, And I didn't know he was talking about the same application. He's talking about stuff I'd never even heard of. So we're going to go in and see a demo of this.
Oh, that's
Okay.
yeah.
We're going to show importing and recording audio, select, copy, and paste audio clips, removing noise, adjusting volume, fade in and fades out, and then we're going to talk about combining audio tracks, trimming and splitting, blah blah. And this is a big one, and we'll get back to that one. So let's go into Audacity. Okay, I recorded this earlier today because I wasn't sure if the mic was going to work. I want to get rid of. I don't even know what this
That's
one
your,
is.
remember your
Oh
mispronunciation?
yeah. I remember what that one is
Just
now. Yeah.
mute it.
Okay, it is muted.
Oh.
So I recorded this earlier. It's having a problem because of this audio output.
Oh, whoa. Oh, that's from the previous one.
Uh-oh. What did that just say?
Yeah, you gotta, apparently you've gotta have it in.
Application trying to use.
Yeah. But it still shows I'm recording.
Yeah, see if you can use it. Yeah. There it is.
That's
I think both tracks are muted, John.
Gentlemen, and welcome to the computer users. This is going to be a demonstration track on recording, just to show you what we can do. Okay. So you notice that I made a mistake. Right about here. Recording on I'm going to highlight this, so this is the only thing that plays. I have isolated one specific word. I come down over here and oh.
Also do it with solo. Audacity. Automatically.
Okay, so I fixed that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy, and I forgot to mark it.
Right there.
Yep.
Right there. A little bit more.
There it is. I need to put
Between those two. The last year, right there.
There we go. And I want to.
Can you just paste and replace?
Yeah, no, there's a way of marking this. I'm trying to remember how to do it. I know how to spell Odyssey. How do you spell it? That's good enough. Okay. So I'm going to come down here, do a paste. And
Said it slower.
what I need to do is split the track.
Far.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah. Can you just paste it in?
Yes.
And replaces
Yes.
it what with what?
Yep.
Yep. So
Gentlemen, welcome to the computer users. This is going to be a demonstration track on Audacity, which show you what we can do.
so I just pasted that right in.
I come over here.
I can come over here, and since I don't need that, I'm going to cut that. I can come and cut out that and look for long pauses and cut that out and look for another long pause.
Yeah. Brother.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the new computer users. A demonstration track on Audacity. Just before the meeting, show you what we can do. Okay.
Okay. So I've cleaned it up. I could go in and identify each word and then go and rearrange words onto a new track. And that's how they did the Kamala Harris.
And also, if you need to fill a certain, say, you only had 26 seconds, it won't change the pitch. And it's at 30 seconds.
Yep.
Yep.
You have to be careful.
You have to be careful. I found it only about 10%. Any more than about 10%, it starts to fall apart. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to reduce this. I don't want Zoom. There we go. This is my entire audio line. Now, I want to come back and we're going to go through and show you. Before I do that, you can save it. I can save the project. I can export the audio. I can import video and edit the video. I can share the audio. Not the video. No, you can edit the audio. I'm sorry. Yeah, you cannot edit the video. Yeah. Let me. Let me show you that in a second. Yeah, that's a very good question. I can export to the computer, and I can go through and select
Lots of different files.
Yes. AIFF is one of the better ones. Wave I would never use.
So if you're doing like, if you want to create a CD, somebody can create a CD, somebody can create a CD player,
Yeah. I prefer to use MP3.
more recent CD players and things that DVD players
Yeah.
Yeah. They could,
So,
yeah.
But AIFF
So
is also.
you have a huge,
large file.
Yeah.
yeah, very large file, totally uncompressed. You can use a generic uncompressed file. I prefer either AIFF, which is MP4, or MP3 for the best size compression ratio. I can set up the sample rate. The higher the sample rate, the better the quality. I can do 16-bit, 24-bit, 34, 32-bit. You have to be careful of because not many can play that back. But you have all kinds of options. I can do the entire project, create multiple files,
And I'm just gonna open up.
and I'm just going to open up a,
small video.
I think I've got a small video. Let me check.
That's today.
Oh, that's today's meeting. No. Oh, let me bring this one in. It shouldn't take that long.
It's a screen file.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
a
it's
screen
got-
file
it's a screen-
format. No
Screen
wonder.
flow.
Okay, I need an actual video, which I probably don't have on this computer. I got sound files. No, I can't. I don't have anything to show.
So
So,
now what I'm gonna do.
so now what I'm going to do is, now that we have the
we
sound,
want to make it sound like it's
we want to make it sound like it's done in a studio, in a recording booth.
Come over here.
So you come over here.
I have the steps laid out.
I have the steps laid out.
First thing we do is noise reduction.
First thing we do is noise reduction.
First step.
That's the first step.
Then you go to the compressor.
Then you go to the compressor, and I've given you
Settings for that.
the settings for
Then
that.
we use the equalizer.
Then we use the equalizer, and in this case, we use two
treble,
presets,
and
treble and
boost,
treble and bass boost.
normalize it,
Then we normalize it,
audio,
which is takes the audio
normalize it across the entire
and normalizes across the entire project.
And you notice how when I added the
And you notice how when I
Audacity
added the Audacity in, you could tell,
in,
well, we're going to try and
do
fix
noise
that.
reduction.
So first we're going to do noise reduction.
come over here to
Come over here to
take care. Yes.
Yeah.
take care. Yes.
Have fun.
Okay.
See you next time.
Okay. We're going to come here to effects.
All the effects.
Now these are all the effects that Audacity has.
First thing we do.
First thing we do is noise removal and repair.
Noise
Noise
reduction. This gets rid
reduction.
of any
This gets rid of
background
any
noise
background noise
in there.
that shouldn't be there. So we go in. Oh. Forgot to select it. Okay. Oh. I forgot. Oh, Jack. Damn. I took out too much of the noise.
Noise reduction. We have
In
to
order to do
tell it
noise reduction, we have to
what
tell it
is silent.
what is silence.
These notifications get careful. Threshold. Give you a perfect example. Think about the Zoom session. Zoom people are talking and behind your phone, he drops out.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that. Turn that off so you get the whole thing.
Yes.
What I'm saying.
Mhm.
Yes.
Section,
Okay. I'm playing this section and there's no noise there.
That's what I'm telling you.
So that's what I'm
Audacity,
telling
this is what
Audacity.
no noise.
This is what no noise
Go over to
is.
effect,
So I'm going to come up here to effect,
noise reduction,
noise reduction,
get noise profile.
get the noise profile. It took from right there. Come back, noise removal, noise reduction,
Okay.
and say, okay.
Now when I play it,
Now when I
you
play
get
it,
a lot less noise.
we should have a lot less noise.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to demonstration track.
Okay. That's the first step.
Second step
Now the second
Come up
step
to the
is we come up to the compressor.
compressor.
Choose compressor. What?
Gotta have something to work on.
Oh, okay.
Now,
There we go.
remember
Now, remember back in the presentation,
we had threshold minus
we had
12,
threshold is
makeup
minus
gain
12,
3 to 4,
makeup gain
ratio
3 to
5
4,
1,
ratio
attack
5 to
time
1,
0.2 second.
attack time
I'm not
0.2.
gonna go through and explain all of
I'm not going to go through and explain all of these.
Trust me.
Just trust
work.
me, these work. Okay.
I've already done that. Those
So
already-
I've already done that. Those already
it-
been set, I believe.
For mainly just spoken word or any audio?
Any audio.
Mainly spoken.
Mainly spoken. Okay. I have a
What we're talking
preview,
about,
which is Norm was talking about.
very important to make sure-
Preview is very important to make sure what you're doing works.
Gentlemen, gentlemen, and welcome to the computer users.
Why did it? Oh yeah, it only gives it the So I'm going to the makeup gain. I'm going to change to 3.5.
Slide bars.
You use the slide bars.
Gentlemen, gentlemen, and welcome to the computer users. Gives us a
Okay,
second preview.
it gives us a 5-second preview, which should be
Everything
more
else
than
I think
enough.
is okay.
Everything else I think is okay.
You may not be hearing it yet.
You may not be hearing it yet. And what I've done in the past, and if I would have thought about it, is to make 2 different tracks and only normalize one. I'm going to apply it now.
And I'm going to play it.
And then I'm going to play it.
Gentlemen,
Notice how it's getting better and better.
Demonstration track.
Okay, you notice how the quality is getting better with each thing I go through.
Next step.
So we're going to come over here. The next step
Equalizer filter.
is the equalizer filter. Now, in this case, I'm going to use the factory presets. You can go through if you know how to use an equalizer and adjust it exactly. But I'm going to boost. You almost always boost the treble and bass. So I'm going to come over here. Effect. Okay, where's the equalizer? Never. Equalizer. No, that's,
Preset button there.
I want the other one.
Oh, bass and treble.
Okay.
It's this one. Okay, so I'm going to come here to presets and factories. I have user presets, factory presets, and I thought there were more than that. I'm going to come down here. This is a treble boost here. That one's already been selected. That's a treble boost. It boosts the treble. So I'm going to say apply that.
Then I come in.
Then I come in,
Equalizer.
go to the equalizer
And preset.
and factory preset,
Base the boost.
bass the boost.
Base.
Boost the bass. You see how it's brought that up?
Apply that.
I'm going to apply that. Now let's play it.
Gentlemen, and welcome to the computer users. This is computer users demonstration. This is going to be a demonstration track. Which I'm doing just before the meeting to show you what too much bass.
A little too much bass. So I'm going to go back in.
Come here.
And come here and bring that down. Preview it. Okay, that's a lot better.
Right now.
I'm going to accept that for right now. If this were for production, the treble's a little too high. So,
Come in here.
and then I come in here. My next step is normalize.
Here, effect.
Come up here, the effect, normalize. And these are the parameters.
I do have presets I can use.
I do have presets I can use.
Should be the same volume.
And it should be the same volume all the way through now.
This is going to be a demonstration track. I really show you what we can do. And so it sounds a lot more like
And so it sounds a lot more like I was recording in a sound booth. It's been normalized. I would go through this now
get rid of some of those bad.
and get rid of some of those bad words in there that I don't like. Make it a lot smoother. But that's what you can do.
Like I said, I'm
And
showing you.
like I said, I'm showing
1%.
you not even 1%.
No,
That's because I only know about
I'm not
10%.
an audio,
I'm not an audio person at all.
but it's a free program.
But it's a free program.
Use it,
You can
normalize
use it. You can normalize
add
music.
in.
I can add in. Now this is where it gets really cool.
If you really know
Okay.
what you're doing, you can create your own. If you really know what you're doing, also create your own. If you use the
Yes.
frequency plate properly, display, you can still affect it. And the biggest that way you create your own elevator music for being on hold.
Okay. I've got.
Pick up some music.
I picked up some music.
I'm
Okay. I'm going to select these, copy it,
over here.
come over
Add a
here,
new stereo track,
add a new stereo track,
paste it.
paste it.
Then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to move
Then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to move
me to about there.
me to
Select all
about
this,
there, select all this,
and I'm going to say
and I'm going to say, if I can, I never can find this one.
duck.
Duck. No, what? I want that to go right there. There we go. Where is duck? Volume and compression. There it is. Where?
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is.
What the help menu
There.
apply it?
There. Auto duck.
Set how far I want it to
Okay, and I
go.
can set how
So
far I
watch
want it
this.
to go down. So watch this. Ah, didn't duck.
It ducked your voice. Don't you have to select the other music to have that part duck?
Yeah, you're right.
You can do the auto duck on your voice.
Yeah. I want to turn this one off. Mute that completely. Good. Now I want to move this over to about there. Select that. Okay. I actually want it to go there. Tools. I can change the pitch, the speed, the tempo, but I just want it to duck at least 12 dB.
You have to have the
So,
track above the one you want to tackle.
Yeah.
yeah. So I can have it go in, and in this case, I'd go back and I'd make it even more, drop it down to about 15 dB.
By the way,
And that's what you can do.
that little pop menu is from the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
It's like a bug in the interface.
Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me.
It's
There,
it's just a pervasive menu that just stays there.
it's just, yeah. Okay. So that is music editing. The primitive, I mean, they're very simple things you can do. And then there's very complex things you can do. The simple things are easy to do. The complex things, got to be a sound engineer to really understand. And I know sound engineers that use this. I mean, this is a very, very good program. There's certain things it can't do that programs like Audition can. With Audition, I can go in and select very minute, like I can get rid of a hum. I can't get rid of a hum in Audacity. Background noise, Audacity is much better. 90% of what you be doing with audio, this works great. GarageBand, you saw what we could do with that.
Yeah.
I've seen Pro Tools used, yeah. I've seen them use. Because I know a lot of managers who like the price of this one a lot more than Pro Tools. Yes, this one is cheap. Pro Tools. Last time I saw Pro Tools is over $1,000.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to save the project.
Quit out of here. And we're gonna go back.
Quit out of here. And we're going to go back and.
Any questions on Audacity?
Any questions on Audacity?
No questions.
Okay. If there's no questions, see you next month for the power
I'll be
of
out of
preview.
town, so bring your
Yes,
own
sir.
coffee.